Alright, today we're going to be making a video that's short and sweet. It's about a book that is short, but it is definitely not sweet. Let's talk about some alien smut. Let's go! Hey nerds, it's Nathan. Do forgive me if my voice sounds a little bit shitter than usual. I have been very unwell, but I wanted to get this video done. I finished the Planet Barbarians a little while ago, actually. Well, I'm just going to move that. And I've been kind of looking forward to talking about it. There's honestly not a whole lot to say, but I want to say it anyway. This is another book club read. This was almost a unanimous vote, actually. This was put up as a bit of a gag, but it ended up being one of the more popular ones read. I was the only one who actually physically read the book. The rest of the group did it by audiobook, which is fine, but they smashed it all in like a day. The reason I'm not doing a collaborative effort like I normally do with the book club is because one of my book club members is overseas on a honeymoon. The other one doesn't want to be on camera. Totally fine. Pardon me, you can hear my throat. And one of the last ones who read the book with me, they didn't want to be caught on camera talking about smut because they're a coward. You know who you are. Coward. But anyway, let's stop talking about them and let's start talking about this book. The premise of the book is essentially a young woman gets kidnapped by aliens. Then in the process of moving from Earth to wherever the fuck they're going, they have to abandon ship, or at least they have to abandon cargo, and they dump her and a bunch of other women on a frozen wasteland planet. And then they basically run into another race of aliens. I don't even know where to begin with this. So this is my first, I don't know if this is called fantasy romance, fantasy smut, sci-fi smut. I don't know which category it falls into because I've never read anything like this. I laughed my ass off during the entire thing. I thought it was so genuinely funny. And I'm not sure that was entirely the premise of it, but I think it mostly got me because of shock value. Just some of the shit that is being said, some of the descriptions, just made me laugh. It just put me in a giddy mood. It was so genuinely entertaining. As for the book and the story itself, there's not a lot of storyline. In fact, there's hardly any fucking storyline. There is a small amount of it, but that storyline doesn't go into exceptional detail. There isn't like a huge adventure. Basically, once they're stranded on the planet, our main character Georgie goes off to try and find help, and in the process runs into one of these big hulking sexy alien men, and they fuck a lot. Their first encounter is she's caught in essentially a rabbit snare and is rescued by one of these big alien beefcakes, and then he basically rescues her. They find a little cave to hide out in, and he says hello by eating her pussy. It is honestly the most jarring thing I've ever read. Pardon me. The writing's very simple. It's very clean. There's nothing exceptionally difficult about it. The storyline is very, very simple. Very easy to follow. There's no way you can get lost in what's happening, except for the fact of probably doing what I did and going, what the fuck is happening, when they just start boning each other a lot. I won't give you all the details of the storyline, but They do eventually rescue the other women from the spacecraft, and then they introduce them to the alien society, and so on and so forth. There is a part that confused me a little bit. It actually confused all of us who read it. Essentially, she kind of develops feelings, basically insta-love, because she's having mind-blowing orgasms. She's developed insta-love with this alien, and instead of... They have a potential way to go home. And the options are they either all stay or they all go, which I find really stupid, because she could have just pissed them, all the other women, right off back to Earth. Possibly. There was a potential to find a way to leave the planet. They could have gone, and she could have stayed and got no brains fucking rooted out every day. Or, many other options in my opinion. But no, the only two options presented in the book were they all stay or they all go. And they all stayed. And I think if they didn't, our author, Ruby Dixon? Yes, Ruby Dixon. Our author probably wouldn't have been able to make 4 more fucking books out of this. I love this. I've really enjoyed it, but I think I've really enjoyed it for the simple fact that I've never read anything like this. I don't have a baseline to compare it to. If anything, if I ever read any other romance fantasy or fantasy smut or whatever you want to call it, this will unfortunately probably be my baseline, because I have nothing else to compare to. If you do watch this, if you have read any of Ruby Dixon's books, if you've read other romance fantasies and fantasy smuts and things like that, leave some comments. Let me know. Is this a top tier book? Is this how fantasy smut is supposed to be written? Is this is this the grade line? Is this where we go, yes it was good, yes it was bad? Am I making the right choice? I'd love to know. Me and all my other book club members would love to know. Essentially, is this the standard, or is this a cut above? We want to know, is this some top shelf fucking fantasy porn or not? Because we're lost. We're so lost. But other than that, everybody in the club had a very similar thing to say. They really enjoyed it. It was very shocking. They were just the usage of certain words on repeat fucking just cracked us up. I know one of the cowards, the coward, they've actually listened to all the audiobooks. They were obsessed with it. Ooh, knocked my mic. They became obsessed with the Planet Barbarians, and they've listened to the whole lot, quite loudly in their car, driving to places, and then had realised that they shouldn't probably have it up so loud that other cars in the parking lot can hear them. But yeah, we all enjoyed it, but we all had a very, very similar review to each other. Smut was entertaining, the storyline was simple, and there was a lot of porn. There was a lot of sex scenes, not a lot of story, which I feel is how most pornography works, generally speaking. But in book form, I think I would have, me personally, I would have liked more story. I would have liked a little bit more in-depthness to it. But yeah, it got a tiny bit repetitive, especially there's only so many ways you can describe the same thing, if that makes sense. You know, you throw them in different positions, I suppose, but when the author is sort of describing the personal experience for them, there's only so many times you can make something sound earth-shattering without it, with using different words, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. They're trying to describe, obviously, the best sex that's ever been had, because it's a fantasy book. They're not going to describe a really mundane, missionary, kind of just gets you there sex. They want to describe the whole shebang. They want to give you the top shelf, and I get that. and they use a lot of descriptive influences as to the euphoria of it, the height of said sex. But it's a short book. By the end of the book, I was a little bit over hearing the grand magnificence of these orgasms. I really was. I don't know. I felt... Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It just got repetitive. I don't know what else to say. It is a good book. I would actually recommend it if you want to laugh. If you're into fantasy smut or romance or whatever the fuck you want to call this. I don't know. That's aliens. Doesn't that make it sci-fi? Anyway, if you're into dirty books, or if you just want to have a laugh because you've never read one of these things before, I would actually suggest picking it up, because this was genuinely entertaining. I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did. This is way out of my wheelhouse. I think everybody in the book club, this is way out of their wheelhouse. I actually think one of my members didn't even read it. I think they were a bit uncomfortable with that idea of just reading porn and then having to discuss said porn with other people. Not everyone's into that. That's fine. You know, a few of us, like the group is made up of a bunch of very close friends, and some of us are very comfortable talking about any and all subjects, and others are not. That's fine. But if it's way out of your wheelhouse, but it's just maybe it's curiosity, maybe you've just never known where to start, which is quite common with a lot of various genres. You just don't know where to start with sci-fi or fantasy or whatever. In this case, I would pick this up. I would actually pick this up. The storyline is actually not bad. Like the written structure of the book too. It's written in like books or parts. How many parts is it again? I can't remember. I think it's like 4 or 5 parts. But regardless, it goes from the perception of Georgie, our main character, to our alien. What's his name? Vectal. I think his name's Vectal. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Vectal. It goes from like her perspective to his perspective. There is like that language barrier as well, which makes it interesting. Her trying to communicate the problem of she has friends in need up on the mountain. He's trying to communicate with her. She's going to die unless she gets like this type of parasite inside her that will allow her to live in the environment. It's genuinely interesting. It's actually a good storyline. I actually think if this was extended with a massive amount of detail in the story, this could have been like a massive romance series. This could be like, I don't know, the book could have easily been 2-3 times the length that this is, and you could have had a really decent story. But that being said, it is a decent story. It's just really compressed. It's really short. It's really just cut through the nonsense and let's just get to the meat. I'm so sorry. Was so entertained. I was so entertained. The sex scenes in it are very raunchy, and they in and of themselves are also very entertaining. Not just for the shock value. I think they've done a really good job of sort of like describing not how sex works, but fuck. I don't know how to fucking do this video. Like the anatomy of it, okay? He's like 7 feet tall, okay? Even in human terms, if you've got an average height woman, you've got a 7 foot tall man, there are curiosities abound in certain people's minds where it's like, how does that work? How do you make those two puzzles fit together? Especially if they're, in proportion to themselves for a man, if you know what I mean. Because how does all that fit? And that's described a little bit in the book. Very funny. There's a lot of description of it. It's very, very funny. I enjoyed it. The aliens themselves are kind of interesting. I actually kind of like the description of them. I kind of like how the way they look and work, especially on like a frozen wasteland planet. I think that's pretty cool. I'm gonna pause for a sec because there's kitties riding past. Sorry about that. Don't really want to be talking about giant blue alien cock when there are kids on their scooters. What was I talking about? Oh yes, the aliens themselves. They're kind of cool, actually. Like 7 feet tall, blue, like ram horns, style horns, tails. They got like almost like a fine suede velvet like fur. If anyone has seen a Rex rabbit, I'd imagine it like that. Rex rabbits have this very velveteen like fur. I imagine it's something like that. That's what I picture anyway, because I'm a rabbit dork. But yeah, like the actual aliens themselves and sound kind of interesting. Would have been cool to learn like about an alien culture. Obviously we're not going into that because that's not what the book's about, but yeah, okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up there, honestly. If you would like to learn about giant blue alien cock, I suggest that you pick up the Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. I'm going to show you the cover. Apparently I got the special edition, which is cool. I'm going to show you that again. It's short. It's nothing if not sweet and savory and salty and spicy. Easy to read. It's a piss easy read. If you're a fast reader or you are just a devourer of smut, you could easily do it. There's a little appendium in the back. There's like a little like half story, the ice planet honeymoon in the back. That's actually quite nice. I didn't mind that one, actually. That's probably the most emotionally in-depth part of the whole book. Apparently that was a separate story by itself, smashed into this one for the special edition. Go out and give it a crack, guys. Honestly, this was just genuinely entertaining. I can't stop using that word. It was so fair and funny. Yeah, give it a crack. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear comments about whether you guys know her work, if you know other people's work is so much better. I swear to God, if anyone fucking tells me about Sarah J. Maas, you can get fucked. Apart from that, yeah, great fucking book, funny as all hell, very entertaining, very easy read. Please buy it. If it's not in your thing, if it's not your wheelhouse, if it's not your thing, pick it up anyway. I would never have thought I was ever going to enjoy a book like this, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Please pick it up. Alright guys, I'm about to do another one right now for God's Grave, which is the sequel of Nevernight. Yes, that's it. And that one will also be coming out very shortly. Alright guys, till next time.